An executive at Warner Brothers came to me when we made our deal, Dark Castle, which is a self-funded entity. We can make movies whatever we want to make that are distributed by Warner Brothers. And he said to me, look, if you guys, if you can, you should try to find a new martial arts star. We at Warner Bros. Have done very well in this genre, whether back to Bruce Lee and Jet Li, Steven Seagal. They've made many martial arts films that have been very successful, but right now nobody's really doing that. And he said, since you're, an independent entity, you have a lot of, foreign, support, maybe it's good to try to create a new martial arts star. So I told that to the Wachowski brothers when we were making Speed Racer, and when we saw Rain the first day, the first day he came on to work on the movie, he was so athletic and he was so able to fight, and his dance ability gave him all this incredible sense of who he was and how to perform that way. We said, let's try to craft a movie around him, and that's what we did. Ninja Assassin was designed as a film to feature Rain, and he really delivered, and we end up with this incredibly exciting, thrilling movie with a real guy who can do this stuff, who's a real martial arts expert. I mean, he didn't come from that field, but he learned it very well, and I think the end result is a really satisfying experience. Well, we wanted to make a throwback movie so that it felt like those great kung fu movies and ninjas movies from the 20, 30 years ago. But it's also, we wanted to make it fresh and new and now, And I think you never saw ninjas running around fighting in traffic in the middle of a parking a circle. I mean, we shot that in Berlin, and we really shot that. I mean, there are a few kind of CG shots in there, but mostly those guys are. I mean, we were controlling the traffic. It wasn't just people driving around, but we shot that to have that feeling of this incredibly, raw, fun, action sequence in the middle of all these cars. I mean, we never did that before, and I think that we tried all along to kind of take elements from the past and elements of now and combine them together to create a new kind of filmmaking. I mean, I wanted to have that sequence be the trailer, but of course the MPAA probably wouldn't have agreed with me. But I thought that was just a great way to set up the whole thing. They're making fun. Ninjas, ha ha, ninjas, oh, you do a ninja, bam, heads come off, arms. I mean, that was pretty exciting, I mean, and I think that was to show the audience, what we're going to do. I mean, yes, it's a little bloody and violent, but it's fun. It's fun. It's not real. It's fun. It's like a comic book. It's like a cartoon almost. I mean, and it shows the tone of the movie, which is not taking itself seriously. And that was the intention, to make a really fun, martial arts action picture, and I think that we did that. I mean, Chad and Dave, who are our kind of stunt coordinators, martial arts coordinators, they work with us through the Matrix movies, through Viva Vendetta and Speed Racer, and they've kind of evolved. They've worked with some of the masters who worked with the early Matrix films all the way up to where they did the stuff themselves, and I think that they did a fantastic job. I mean, they brought professionals in from Asia to do some of the, but we had all kinds of athletic ninja activity there. There was not just fighting. There's parkour, there's free running, there's all these other things that we did. And I think that, the attitude of this was to make this kind of, cornucopia of martial arts styles, and that was crafted by these two guys who work with us, and I think that they delivered. Well, I mean, he's a big pop star in Korea, and he's in all in Asia, and he's a great dancer, great performer, and he really hadn't done this kind of work before Speed Racer. And then when we brought him to do that, we saw his abilities, and we actually made it bigger in the picture because he was so able to do it. And when we came upon to do this movie, he really wanted to do great, and he trained, and he was so fit, and he ate properly, and he was religious in his ability to just have no body fat and just really work hard to create this character of Rizzo, make him this machine, and he did it. He did it all. I mean, he really did it all, and he delivered what we asked him to do, and he could learn the moves so quickly that they added more and more, and so you see these long takes in the movie, and we cut them up sometimes to get close-ups and everything, but he did all this stuff, and he's really a very talented and a very great guy. It was critical that the boys really, the Wachowski brothers really wanted him in the picture because he has a kind of a solid ninja background, and it was hard to get him to do it. I mean, he didn't really want to revisit the ninja world. He'd been there in his life, but we all pressured him, and we convinced him that it was going to be special and it was going to be different than he thought, and it was. And I think he enjoyed it, and I think he did a great job in the picture. I mean, a lot of these movies, these have elements of that, of their emotional connection to the characters, and I think that we did that. I mean, we tried hard to do that, and I mean, look, it's about the fighting, it's about the action scenes, but you want to kind of hold it together with some kind of emotional core, and we try to do that, and I think we did, and I think the audiences will enjoy it. I think that it's a young male movie, but I think young females will like it too. I think it can work for all the audiences. Absolutely. The intention of this was to not have that kind of wire work. I mean, there's some wire removal in this and some of the things they're doing, but it was not designed to have that fantasy type style. It was designed to be more kind of reality based, and and that's what it is. I mean, it's grounded more than the Matrix was, and I think that comes out. I just saw it with a huge audience for the first time with a big audience, and it just was very exciting to see it and see the reaction to it. And I think that they really enjoyed the movie, and I think everyone who sees it will enjoy the movie.